really sure who first started the Taylor Swift book tag. All I do know is that the first person I watched it on was Kat from Katie Tastic. And if you don't know what the Taylor Swift book tag is it began last year in 2014 from what I know, and all you do is take a bunch of Taylor Swift songs and match them to books that you feel connects to the song the most. So the first song is We Are Never Getting Back Together. We are never ever ever getting back together. We are never ever ever getting back together. And for that song, I chose the Fallen series by Lauren Kate. This series includes Fallen, Torment, Passion, and Rapture. For the first two books, Fallen and Torment, I really enjoyed the storyline, and I found it really easy to get into the story, and it was just a really fast-paced read for me. But as soon as I started reading Passion and Rapture, I just felt like the author had gotten off the story, and it was really hard for me to try and continue in the series. I finished the entire series, but it's like, I never want to see it again. I'm done with you. I took those books and I sold them. Losing him was blue like I'd never known. Missing him was dark gray all alone. Forgetting him was like trying to know somebody you never met. But loving him was red. Book, I chose A Touched Mortal by Leah Clifford. This book is one that isn't recognized often in the booktube community. It's very underhyped, and I feel like it definitely needs a lot more recognition than it has. So the next song is The Best Day. And I had the best day with you today. And this is a book that makes you feel nostalgic. And that book I chose is Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. As you can see, this book is badly torn. It's not in the best condition, and I got this book, I believe I was in 6th grade when I got it. I won it in a writing competition. I wrote a short story and won the competition, so I was able to choose multiple books, and I bought the entire Ugly series. This is one book that I read over and over, and I just absolutely love it. And every time I read it, it reminds me of, the fact that I did win this, and it just brings me back to 6th grade, I guess. I don't know. It's just one of the books that really got me into wanting to read YA fiction like this. So the next song is Love Story. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. And that is a story that contains forbidden love. And for that book, I chose The Host by Stephanie Meyer. And I know there's a lot of love. This is basically a love square in this book, but the two characters that I chose was Wanda, or the Wanderer, and Ian. And I feel like because she's an alien and he's a human, it's very forbidden for them to even come into contact with each other. She shouldn't feel the way she does about Ian, and he shouldn't feel the way he does about her. But they do, and I'm glad they do, because it makes for a great forbidden love story. So the next song is I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In. Shame on me now. So, and that's a bad character who you know is bad, but you can't help but love them. And for that, I chose Warner from Shatter Me. And I don't know why. I read this book once. This is the only one I read. I do own the sequel, which I will be reading this year. But ever since I read this book, I've just loved Warner. I don't know why. He's not a good character, but what you gonna do, right? So the next book, or the next song, is the song Innocent, and I'm not really sure how the song goes, so I'm just gonna move into the book. And that is a book that someone ruined the ending or any part of that book for you. And that book is Allegiant. And I slightly blame myself for this book being ruined. Before I even bought it, I went on to social media and was reading about it, and everybody was complaining about the end of the book, obviously. There's a lot of people who disagree with how the book actually ended. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. And so it was definitely ruined for me, but I still read it. So, dedication to series. That's the next song is Everything Has Changed, and that's all I know about this. Okay, and that is a character who goes through extensive character developments. And this, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with my choice, but I chose Beatrice from the Divergent series. And I feel like from the beginning, she didn't exactly know who she was. And she had some conflicting thoughts, you know, am I selfless? Am I brave? Am I, you know, honest? And she goes through a lot of development through the entire series, in my opinion. And she really discovers who she truly is in the last book. And I think I'm one of the only people who actually enjoyed how this series ended. But I just feel like she definitely went through the changes that a character should definitely go through. And it just made her stronger and a better character, in my opinion, in the last book. The next song is You Belong With Me. You belong with me. You belong with me. And that is a new release that is coming out this year, and it's your most anticipated release, and that would be Vanishing Girls by, what's her name? Lauren Oliver. And I just feel like I read most of Lauren Oliver's books. I've read the entire Delirium trilogy. I've read Panic. I've read If I Stay. What's it called? Oh, I can't remember what it was called. Before I Fall, I believe it's called. And I really like Lauren Oliver's writing style, and I feel like this is one of the books that I will definitely be picking up this year. Next is Forever and Always. When it rains in your bedroom, everything is wrong. It rains when you're here and it rains when you're gone. I was there when you said forever and always. And that is your favorite book couple, and I chose Percy Jackson and Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and of course the Heroes of Olympus series. And I've shipped them, I guess you can say, since I read the first book. And I just love their characters. I love their characters together. And I feel like Rick Riordan put a lot of thought into these two characters, and they really feel like they connect. So, next song is Come Back, Be Here. It's another one that I am unsure of the lyrics of the song, so, and that is the book you're least likely to lend out because you'd miss it so much, and it just, it stabs you in the heart when you lend it out. And I was going to choose another book, but I realized that I have lent that book out before, so I'm going to go with Unearthly by Cynthia Hand. And this book I've only read once. I own the entire series, but even though I read it once, it's like it belongs on my shelf. And if I don't see it there, then it kind of makes me crazy a little bit, I guess. I love this series. It's one that I plan on rereading very soon, but yeah, this book, it completes my bookshelf. And books are falling everywhere. That's not good. Okay. Next is You're the Reason for the Teardrops on My Guitar. And that is the book that made you cry the most. The book that you couldn't get through without shedding a single tear, and that is a book that's probably on everybody's list, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I've read a lot of books that make me cry. Most books that I read make me cry. And before I started reading YA fiction like this, I was reading a author called Lurleen McDaniel, and most of her books are about girls who get cancer, and it's very sad, and they always made me cry, of course, because they're like death and sadness all over the place. But this book is pretty much just like that, and it always makes me cry, and so does the movie. And this is definitely, if you want to cry, the kind of book you'd reach for. John Green does such an amazing job developing the characters and developing a story that is just addicting and that you don't want to put down, but you kind of don't want to read it at the same time because you know what's going to happen. And the last song is, and that is a book that you love but others love to hate. And you just, you gotta shake off the haters because you like this book or you like this series, and you just, And that book is marked. The series is the House of Night series. And I know a lot of people who love to hate this book series. And I personally am not one of them. I wish I didn't like this series. You know those series where it's like, oh, I know it's not great. I know it's not something that is amazing and perfect writing and, but you just, when you have it, you can't put it down. You have to read it. And this is that series for me, is I know it's not good, but I read it anyways. So that's definitely the book that I just shake off the haters, because even though it's not good, even though people hate it, I still love it, so. And that is the end of the Taylor Swift book tag. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did the tag, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to go watch it. So I will see you later. Bye!